Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today we're going to be talking about something really cool, something that's straight out of the future, supersonic flight.
That's right. We're specifically looking at NASA's X-59 Quest project.
The X-59. It's a jet designed to break the sound barrier.
And do it quietly.
Right, without that crazy sonic boom that we all know from the Concorde. It's a pretty ambitious goal.
It is. But to understand just how ambitious, I think it's helpful to look back a bit.
Okay, so let's talk about the sonic boom for a second.
Yeah, let's break it down.
Why was it such a big problem for the Concorde? I get that it was loud.
Oh, it was more than just loud. Imagine a continuous thunderclap trailing behind a plane.
Whoa.
That's essentially what a sonic boom is. It's not just annoying, it can actually cause damage.
Wow, I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah, and that's precisely why supersonic flight over land was banned in many countries.
So how did the Concorde even fly at all then?
Well, its routes were pretty limited. It was mainly restricted to flying over oceans.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it could never really reach its full potential.
Exactly. It's a classic example of how technological advancements need to work hand in hand with regulations and public acceptance.
It's a good reminder that it's not just about the tech itself, but also how it fits into the world.
Right. And that's what makes the X-59 so interesting. It's trying to solve that very problem.
So how does it actually work? What makes it so quiet?
It all comes down to its design. It's this long, sleek, needle-like aircraft, very different from the Concorde.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures. It looks super futuristic.
And that long nose, along with the specially placed engine, is designed to manipulate those shock waves.
The shock waves that cause the sonic boom.
Exactly. Instead of a jarring boom, you get a gentler sonic thump.
A sonic thump, huh? Sounds a lot more appealing.
Yeah, like a soft thud. Much more acceptable, hopefully.
So how will they know if it actually works? I mean, how do you measure a sonic thump?
Well, NASA has this pretty cool plan. They're going to mount a shock-sensing probe on an F-15 fighter jet.
Wait, so they're going to have a fighter jet chase the X-59? That's awesome.
It's pretty wild. The F-15 will fly close behind and measure the pressure waves to validate their computer models.
Like a supersonic chase scene.
Yeah.
I love it. And speaking of speed, how fast are we talking about here? What's the X-59's top speed?
The X-59 is designed to cruise at Mach 1.4.
Mach 1.4. Okay, for those of us who aren't pilots, what does that mean in real-world terms?
That translates to roughly 925 miles per hour. Think about it. You could cross the entire U.S. in just a few hours.
Wow, that's insane. It really does feel like the future of travel.
It does, doesn't it? But of course, it's not without its challenges. Even if the sonic thump is quieter, public perception is still a major factor.
Yeah, that's a good point. People might still be hesitant about supersonic flight, even if it's quieter.
Exactly. So after the initial test flights, which are expected sometime in 2025,
Right.
NASA is planning to conduct community overflights. They'll fly the X-59 over populated areas and get feedback from people on the ground.
So they're really trying to involve the community from the get-go.
Absolutely. It's about transparency and ensuring that this technology is truly acceptable to the people it will affect.
It makes you wonder, how did we even get to this point? I mean, the Concorde wasn't the first attempt at supersonic flight, was it?
You're right. The race for supersonic flight involved more than just the U.S. and Europe. The Soviet Union was a major player, too.
Really? Tell me more.
They actually beat the Concorde to the skies with their Tupolev Tu-144. It was the world's first commercial supersonic transport aircraft.
Wow, I had no idea. You always hear about the Concorde, but rarely about the Tu-144. Why is that?
Well, unfortunately, the Tu-144 program faced a lot of challenges.
Like what?
Technical difficulties, for one, and a tragic crash in 1973.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a major setback for the program. The Tu-144 was eventually retired from commercial service in 1983.
So it was a short-lived era for the Tu-144. It's kind of sad, actually.
It is, but what's remarkable is that its story didn't end there.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really interesting, I think. After the Cold War ended, something amazing happened. NASA partnered with Russian scientists.
Wait, so the U.S. and Russia worked together on supersonic flight?
Exactly. In the 1990s, they used a modified Tu-144 as a flying laboratory.
Wow, that's incredible. They turned a retired Soviet supersonic jet into a research tool? What were they looking for?
They were gathering data on supersonic flight characteristics, especially aerodynamic performance and noise reduction.
So basically, they were trying to learn from the Tu-144's successes and failures.
Precisely. And the insights they gained from those flights directly informed the development of the X-59.
That's amazing. It's a reminder that even projects that might be considered failures can still contribute to future breakthroughs.
Absolutely. Sometimes you need to take a few steps back to make a giant leap forward.
Well said. So the X-59 is like this combination of decades of research, international collaboration, and lessons learned. It's standing on the shoulders of giants.
That's a great way to put it. And that's what makes it so exciting, I think. It has the potential to truly revolutionize air travel. But that's a conversation for another time.
Okay, so the X-59 is a big deal. It's the result of years of research and international collaboration. And it's a glimpse into a future where supersonic flight might actually be possible over land.
Yeah, and it's not just about the technology itself, but also about the challenges, the opportunities, and the potential impact on our world.
It's a lot to think about, that's for sure. But hey, that's what these deep dives are all about, right?
Exactly.
So stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back after a quick message.
So before the break, we were talking about the X-59 and its potential to revolutionize air travel. It's all about proving that quiet supersonic flight over land isn't just science fiction. It's something that could actually happen.
And if it does work, and if the regulators are on board...
And if the public accepts it...
Right, all those pieces have to fall into place.
Exactly. But if they do, it could really open up a whole new world of travel. Just imagine.
Zipping across the country for a meeting?
Or a quick weekend trip to Europe.
Yeah, it would be a total game changer.
Think about the business world.
Diplomacy, even. I mean, so much relies on face-to-face interaction.
It's true. And faster travel times could really make the world feel smaller and more connected.
It's exciting to think about.
It is.
But, I can't help but think about the Concorde.
Yeah, the
Concordes were notoriously expensive.
Right.
Wouldn't supersonic travel just be a luxury for the super rich?
Well, that's a valid concern for sure. The Concorde's downfall wasn't just the sonic boom, it was also the cost.
Right. It wasn't exactly accessible to the average person.
No, it wasn't. But technology has come a long way since then. I mean, think about it.
Okay, so you're saying there's hope for the rest of us.
I think so.
Yeah.
One of the key areas of focus is engine technology. The X-59, for example.
Yeah.
It uses a single GE F414 engine.
Okay.
It's a derivative of the engine used in the FA-18 Super Hornet.
So it's a powerful engine.
It is powerful, but it's also designed for fuel efficiency.
Ah, so that helps with the cost.
Exactly. And there's also a lot of research going into alternative fuels, like biofuels.
Which would be even better for the environment.
Right. It's not just about speed, it's about sustainability, too.
Speaking of which, we haven't really talked about the environmental impact of supersonic flight in general.
That's a crucial point.
I mean, burning more fuel to go faster.
It does have an impact.
It can't be great for the planet.
It's a real concern. Supersonic flights do produce higher carbon emissions than subsonic flights. That's why those advancements in engine technology are so important.
And the research into alternative fuels.
Exactly. Reducing those emissions is a top priority.
So it's a balancing act, really.
It is. We need speed, but we also need affordability and environmental responsibility.
It's not just about one thing.
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot where all these factors can coexist.
Okay, so it sounds like we're at this crucial point in aviation history. We have the technology, but now we have to figure out how to use it responsibly.
I think that's a really good way to put it.
So where do we go from here? What's next for the X-59?
Well, the first flight is scheduled for 2025, but that's really just the beginning.
Right.
After that comes a lot of testing, gathering data, particularly on noise levels.
Making sure that sonic thump is actually as quiet as they think it is?
Exactly. And those community overflights will be crucial.
Getting feedback from the people who will be living with this technology.
Absolutely. Remember, public acceptance is key.
So it's a waiting game, but a pretty exciting one. But even if the X-59 is a success, and even if the public is okay with the sonic thump...
There's still a lot of work to do.
Right. I mean, going from a single experimental aircraft to commercial supersonic flights.
It's a huge leap.
What are some of the challenges we're talking about?
Well, think about infrastructure. Airports and air traffic control systems need to be adapted.
Oh, yeah, good point. They're not set up for supersonic flights.
Right. And then there's the economic side of things. Airlines need to see that there's a market for it.
And it has to be profitable.
Exactly. And of course, there's the regulatory landscape.
Yeah, all the rules and regulations.
International agreements, noise standards, flight paths. It's a complex web.
It's like building a whole new ecosystem for supersonic travel.
That's exactly what it is. It's a big challenge, but The potential rewards are enormous.
Faster travel times, a more connected world, and hopefully a more sustainable way to fly.
That's the goal, and that's what makes the X-59 so important. It's a stepping stone, a catalyst for innovation.
This whole conversation has been really eye-opening, but we've been focusing so much on the technical aspects and the big picture.
Yeah.
What about the human side of things?
What do you mean?
Well, how are people going to react to this?
The human factor.
It's not just about noise, it's about the whole experience of flying at supersonic speeds.
You're right. Passenger comfort, the overall experience, those are all important considerations.
You know, it makes me think of those old sci-fi movies where supersonic travel is this luxurious, glamorous thing.
Interesting.
Will that be the reality?
Well, it's hard to say for sure. I think we might see a spectrum.
Okay.
Premium supersonic flights for the luxury market.
Yeah, like those old movies.
But also more affordable options for the rest of us.
Maybe even hybrid models? Part supersonic, part subsonic?
It's possible. It's not just a technological revolution, it's a cultural one, too.
It makes you think about how supersonic flight could change the way we perceive travel, the way we connect with the world.
It's true, and that's what makes it so fascinating, I think. It's about exploring, connecting, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
This deep dive has been amazing. We've covered so much ground.
We have.
But there's one question that keeps coming back to me.
What's that?
Will the X-59 actually succeed? I mean, it all sounds incredible.
Right.
But is it realistic to think that quiet supersonic flight can actually become a reality?
Well, I don't have a crystal ball.
Fair enough.
But I do think that the X-59 represents decades of research and innovation.
It's a testament to human ingenuity.
It is, and it shows our determination to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
So there's a chance.
There's always a chance. That's what makes it exciting. The future of supersonic flight is being written right now.
We're all part of this story.
We are, and the outcome depends on so many factors. Technology, public opinion, regulations, economics.
It's complex.
It is complex. But I think the most important factor is our willingness to embrace this new frontier of aviation.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
I am too. I think the X-59 has the potential to change everything. And even if it doesn't lead to widespread supersonic travel, the knowledge we gain will still be incredibly valuable.
It's a win-win, really.
It is. The X-59 is a symbol of progress. It shows that we can learn from the past and create a better future.
It really is.
Yeah.
The X-59 is a symbol of progress. It shows that we can learn from the past and create a better future. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to hear from you, our listeners.
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
What do you think about the future of supersonic flight? Are you excited about the possibilities? Do you have concerns?
Hop down to the comments section and let us know.
We want to hear your predictions, your hopes, maybe even your doubts about this next chapter in aviation.
You know, thinking about all those comments,
Yeah?
it makes me realize we've been so focused on the big picture, the overall impact,
Right.
that we haven't really talked about some of the smaller details of the X-59.
Like what?
Like, did you know that the X-59 doesn't even have a forward-facing window?
Wait, seriously. How does a pilot see where they're going?
It's pretty cool, actually. They use what's called an external vision system.
Okay.
It's a high-definition camera system mounted on the outside of the aircraft.
So the pilot sees everything on a screen?
Exactly. It's kind of like flying a video game.
Yeah.
And it's not just about aerodynamics.
Right.
It also gives us a glimpse into the future of cockpit design.
So maybe one day all aircraft will be piloted this way.
Who knows? It's definitely possible.
It's wild to think about. You know, this whole conversation has really got me thinking. We often get so caught up in the excitement of new technology. Yeah. That we forget to think about the historical context.
That's a really good point. Innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Exactly. And the X-59 is a perfect example of that.
It's not just a leap forward. It's part of a story that's been unfolding for decades.
The Concorde, the Tu-144, all those earlier attempts at supersonic flight.
They all paved the way for the X-59.
By understanding the past,
both the successes and the failures,
we can make better decisions about the future.
Exactly.
You know, I have to admit.
What's that?
I'm a bit fascinated by those Cold War aviation stories.
Yeah, the race between the U.S. and the Soviet Union.
It's like something out of a movie. It makes you wonder if there are any parallels to today.
Interesting question. I think there are some similarities.
Like what?
We're seeing a renewed focus on technology driven by global competition.
Countries investing in aerospace, AI, renewable energy.
Exactly. Everyone wants to be at the forefront.
But it also feels like there's more collaboration now, too.
Yeah, I think you're right. The X-59 is a perfect example of that.
International cooperation leading to groundbreaking innovation.
It's pretty inspiring, actually.
It is. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll look back at the X-59 as the start of something truly special.
A new era of supersonic travel.
One that's faster, more sustainable, and connects people and cultures in a meaningful way.
That's a great way to put it.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. We've explored the possibilities of quiet supersonic flight, the challenges, the potential impact.
It's a topic with so many layers.
Yeah, it really is. And we couldn't have done it without you, our listener. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for listening.
We'll be back next week with another fascinating topic. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out.
And keep those comments coming.
In the meantime, keep looking up, keep dreaming big, and who knows, maybe one day we'll all be soaring through the skies at supersonic speeds.